Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Power Scaling 101. I'm your host Surfbone, and today we'll be learning about how to scale a character's strength. Because although it may sound simple enough on its own, which it kinda is, however we'll be mainly going over the different technical terms that are important when specifying the strength of a character and how to implement that into power scaling. When it comes to scaling a strength of a character, there are two different classifications you need to be aware of. These two being attack potency and destructive capacity. To make things very easy and simple to understand, essentially AP refers to who you can hurt and DC refers to what you can destroy. For example, if a character can damage, harm, or even kill a character that can destroy the Earth, that character would then classify as having planetary levels of AP, or more simply, planetary AP. But you may be asking, why wouldn't you assume first that this character is simply a glass cannon because he was only stated to be capable of destroying a planet? Unless specified otherwise, this should never be your first assumption, because it's way more logical to believe that if the character wouldn't be able to withstand the force at least comparable to their own attacks, their body would immediately break apart from the automatic counterforce whenever they try to exert themselves. Essentially, you would always assume first that a character should be able to tank whatever they could dish out, which comes from Newton's third law of motion that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, as the two forces action force and reaction force are always paired and there is never just one force. For destructive capacity, or DC, in more technical terms, it refers to the amount of energy a character can produce, and is usually measured in units of energy. For example, if a character destroys a planet via a punch or energy blast, then they would be classified as having planetary levels of DC, or planetary DC. So all of that's pretty simple to understand, hopefully. Let's get into what you need to take into consideration when talking about a character's AP and DC, such as a character's DC would always scale to their AP, but it's not always the same case when you switch it around. What do I mean by this? Technically, AP is the measured DC of an attack. As such, it's measured via its energy damage equivalent. However, AP refers to the energy output of a single attack, and is not associated with area of effect. Therefore, a character that can harm and or kill a character that can destroy a planet doesn't always indicate that they can destroy a planet themselves. This differentiation helps make sense of the instances within fiction where there are characters that have the power to destroy planets and even up to entire universes, but are capable of brawling out on Earth without destroying some parts of the landscape, because their goal is more about hurting each other rather than the battlefield they're standing on. Sometimes this even leads to great storytelling about giving a heroes a reason to hold back sometimes, because they're afraid of what more damage they could cause as a result. Now that we've covered the importance of a character's AP and DC, there are two other types of strength related to power scaling that I have yet to bring up, that being striking strength and lifting strength. And today with me, I brought my good friend Noodles to help with this section, as he can give us a much more detailed explanation of these two categories.
What's going on, guys? Today I'm here to talk about the differences between not only striking and lifting strength, but also attack potency and how strength can correlate and not correlate to it. So to begin, we must define exactly what strength is. To give you the common definition from Google, strength, or strong in this case, is defined as having the power to move heavy weights or perform other physically demanding tasks. The common perception of a strong individual is someone who is muscular or someone who is capable of performing physically demanding tasks, such as weightlifting, as referenced in the definition itself. But this is not actually enough to define what strength truly is in regards to power scaling. So to be more specific, strength is the capability to engage muscle motor neurons and the muscle fibers attached, to generate the force necessary to achieve a specific outcome. The motor neurons and their muscle fibers are referred to as a motor unit. Force is a mass times its acceleration, so depending on how much of a mass is there and how fast said mass is accelerating will decide how much force is outputted from these motor units. There are multiple ways someone could be considered strong. A powerlifter is viewed as strong much in the same way that a sprinter's legs are seen as strong, yet these two have developed completely different strengths for a different task. Strength training is achieved by completing very specific tasks in order to achieve very specific outcomes. For example, if you want to become good at lifting objects with your arms above your head whilst laying on the ground, bench press allows you to train those muscles to do that. If you want to run a 100-meter dash in 9.58 seconds, practicing sprints in short distances will help you achieve that goal as well. Lifting strength is a very broad category that refers to any strength task related to lifting, and generally to how much a character or person can lift. To put this in an example, Superman has been shown to lift cars, so based on the average weight of a car, we can assume Superman has the lifting strength of 2,871 pounds. Simple enough. Now, striking strength ties into this as well, because the strongest strikers on the planet tend to be boxing, MMA, and other martial arts competitors. Obviously, a boxer will be able to hit significantly harder than a powerlifter for much the same reason a powerlifter can squat more than a sprinter. The muscles being trained within their bodies are specifically designed to perform a certain task, and boxers train their arms and body to perform the task of striking, so they tend to hold the capability of generating much more force in their strikes than almost any other person on the planet. Striking strength is also a really broad category and in essence refers to any strength task related to striking. To put this in an example, Naruto is able to shatter rock with his punches and leave a crater in the ground. Now, depending on the density of this rock, let's say it's granite, which has an average density of 2.67 grams per cubic centimeter, which requires 19,000 pounds of pressure per every square inch to break. So depending on the amount of granite broken, we can calculate the striking strength of Naruto, which would be somewhere above 19,000 pounds of force. So to put everything I've said together, striking strength refers to how powerful a single strike from a character can be, and lifting strength refers to the amount of weight a character can lift. These two things do not necessarily correlate to each other, as a guy who is good at bench pressing heavy weight is not necessarily good at throwing powerful punches. This also translates to attack potency, as lifting heavy amounts of weight does not inherently make your attacks more powerful. Striking strength is generally an attack though, so you can usually say striking strength correlates to attack potency. The difference between striking strength and attack potency is that a character's attack potency does not inherently have to be reliant on their physical strikes, but possibly an ability they have, such as Superman's heat vision, which carries its own set of force and properties related to power, which is of course not related to his physical striking strength. Hope this, guys, allows you to better understand strength and clears up any misconceptions between the three terms. Anyway, now I've overstayed my welcome, so I'll go ahead and send it back to Surfbone.
Well, anyway, that's it for the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. A massive thanks to Noodles for coming onto the channel and helping me out with this video. If any of you are big fans of Naruto and power scaling in general, I implore you to go check out his YouTube channel, which I'll link to in the description, as well as his Twitter. So far, his Madara video is definitely one of my favorites so far, but recently he's been working really damn hard on a video about Kakuzu, which looks really good so far. And do expect me and Noodles to do a ton more collaboration videos in the future, so look forward to all of that. I also want to give a massive thanks to Audi Loki for animating the collab intro that you all saw at the beginning of this video. He got it done so incredibly fast and it looks so freaking awesome. I'll be leaving a link to his channel in the description that includes some of his work, and he also happens to be one of the incredibly talented and hard-working animators of the insanely popular fan series Dragon Ball Deliverance, which if you're a huge fan of quality animation, you should definitely go check that out. And as always, a massive thanks to Wakutaku for all the amazing art that you've seen in this video of both my avatar and Noodles' avatar. And if you ever want to get the chance to commission him or see some of his other art, please go follow him on Twitter, which I'll also be linking to in the description. But besides all that, again, look forward to more Power Scaling 101 videos in the future, such as a video on gag characters within Power Scaling, a video comparing travel, combat, and reaction speeds, and many others. Subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell to get notified anytime I upload more content. Like and comment down below on what topics within Power Scaling you want to see me cover next. But until then, thank you all for watching, and class is dismissed.